once in a while, I like to involve the community within my videos. I would not be able to make videos and provide for my bills or save money to open my own bookstore if it weren't for you guys. So every once in a while, I like to bring you in for a video. Easiest way to do this normally is through hot takes. First off, it's a first come, first serve. So the first person to come to the post, that's gonna be the first people that get responded to. But before them, I like to give my channel members a chance. So all my channel members are the first ones to be responded to. And then we go on from there. Also, I noticed that I'm covering up the chat box. So let me move that up. And then we're gonna like bring you guys in just a little bit there so that we're not overlapping any of the comments. Something like that. There we go. All right. I'm not gonna read this one down here because this is just someone responding to something. So we'll go there. All right. So we got 3 channel members who left their hot takes. Oh my fucking God. That's right. I read bots yesterday. Okay. Starting off with Dim Dim. Dim Dim says, we need DBD 2, complete reconstructing of the engine, game's code, everything. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We're playing a game which was originally just a hide and seek with a small pool of characters, but every single patch adds more things that weren't made for the original game. The code becomes messier, fixing it. Yes, I agree. I 110% agree. I've been saying this for a while. When I first heard the idea of a DBD 2 and everything, I wasn't like on board. But I think like at this point, we should be very much aware that every single patch comes with just a mountain of bugs. Just so many bugs. So many bugs. And I think we're all kind of tired of it, for sure. I think that there's so much crap in terms of bugs, and we're all exhausted, and we need a better coding. So yeah, we definitely need a DBD 2. That's why we had Overwatch 2. Yeah. My secret hope is the reason that the recent patches have felt so stale and stagnant is because they're secretly building DBD 2 and they just can't tell us yet. That's my hope. I'm not saying that's reality, and you might think I'm over optimistic, but that's my hope. Okay. Bot left a fucking essay, and I've already read it, so I'm just gonna summarize this. Bot's hot take, that he says it's not a hot take, just the reality of the situation, which it's not a reality, and I'm gonna tell you why in a minute, is that we should just delete perks and then add the class system to 1v4. The argument here is that we've got a shitload of perks and he says only 10 of them are used. I disagree on a fundamental level, and in my opinion, few things. Number one, if we removed perks from this game, it would die even quicker than it currently already is. Because perks are a core function of Dead by Daylight. One of the core functions of this game is the ability to customize your playstyle using perks. Turning that into a class system would so narrowly, I mean narrowly, I'm not saying that word right. Turning it into a class system would narrow the amount of playstyles so much that people would get bored. You would get bored so fucking fast. There's no argument for it. The argument that Bot tries to give is that most of the perks are useless and therefore they don't matter. But the truth of the matter is, people love playing with perks. People love variety of playstyles. Like, yeah, not every perk, or not even the vast majority of perks are good, but that doesn't mean you still don't get people who like playing with Pebble. At the very bottom, he misses it. Seriously, would you miss Red Herring? I use Red Herring in one of my troll builds. I do Red Herring, Blast Mine. Yeah, Red Herring, Blast Mine. Red Herring, Blast Mine is one of my favorite troll builds. It's absolutely fun as shit. Getting rid of some of the more fun and interesting perks, it's just not, it's not what you think it is. And I'll be honest, I don't really like the way you put this, where you're kind of like, you like, here you say that honestly, the more you really think about it, the more it makes sense. No, it doesn't. Because I don't think you've actually thought about it. You know what I mean? I don't think you've actually thought about it. I think you have come up with the idea and then backwards engineered your way into the idea. Instead of coming up with the hypothesis and then really putting it under scrutiny, you have said perks should be deleted, and then you purposefully looked for arguments to back it up and then didn't think about those arguments. But like, even here, you were like, give each character a trait special and lore accurate to them. You're gonna run out of ideas by like the 10th survivor. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna be able to get all of that correctly. And the class system is so godforsakenly overtuned in 2v8, they would have to undertune the fuck out of it in order to actually make it work in 1v4. There's just so many reasons this doesn't work, and I don't think you've thought about any of them. I think you've slightly brushed the surface of your opinion, and then you, like I said, you backwards engineered your way into the opinion. You basically came up with what you think should happen, and then only looked for reasons why it should happen, and didn't think about why those reasons don't work. Yeah, and Dak just brought up a great problem. You're gonna go from seeing the same 10 perks to the same 10 survivors, and truly, that's not even the case at all. You're gonna go from the same 10 perks to seeing the same, like, 4 survivors, or 3 even. Like, there's just gonna be objectively better stuff to run, no matter how you tried to build this game. Until the day there's a massive perk shakeup, we are always going to be in a chase gen speed meta. Always. You know what I mean? Finally, Scornful Epex says, if you're decent at killer, even against good survivors, you really shouldn't need more than 1 slowdown or regression perk in your loadout to get good results. This is just factually incorrect. The game at the current moment is built around gen speed, and gens fly off the fucking handle. It is so easy for good survivors to finish 3 to 4 gens in sub 5 minutes. We witnessed it happen to me earlier. I was running 2 slowdowns, constantly had someone in chase, and still lost 3 gens in less than 5 minutes. Because gens are just, I mean, brand new part, hyper-focus stakeout, the new teamwork perks that came with Stranger Things where you finish things 5% faster, prove thyself is still a massive fucking problem. The fact that survivors, if they split up on gens, makes it hard for most killers to actually pressure. Like, just being good at killer doesn't mean anything if the killer can't handle the pressure, right? And the reality is the better the survivors are, the better they are at splitting up the pressure on gens, the better they are at keeping your attention for longer, which gives the other survivors more time to work on gens, the better they are at a bunch of things. I'm not saying you need 4 slowdowns, but saying that only needing 1 slowdown is like a mark of good skill is like just completely ignoring what is actually like the core issues of this game. Like, if that was the case, then Otz wouldn't have any trouble doing his various streaks. You know what I mean? So, I greatly disagree. All right, now that we've covered the channel members, let's go to newest, go all the way to the bottom, and start working our way up. I'll also drink some water because my throat hurts. Hex Felix says, DBD should take a break from content and work on the game's health. My opinion, they should half the effects and stats of all perks, goddamn, on both sides to make the game less perk dependent and more map and skill focused. Like, then they could also reverse the diminishing returns feature, like why equip healing perks like Desperate Measures or Autodidact if there is one pro that gives 50% because someone has a hook state. I'm tired of perk by daylight. So this is similar to Bot's complaint, where if you don't like perks, I'm gonna be completely honest, the game might not be for you. And I don't want to say that by like being like, just quit it if you don't like it. But the perks are what make Dead by Daylight. And halving the effects and stats of perks is not gonna accomplish shit. Because we're still gonna have the same problems, right? It's just that games might last longer. Instead of games ending in, say, 10 minutes, they might end in like 20, right? Also, I don't think on both sides is necessarily a good idea, because right now, the biggest problem with perk balance is not necessarily stats or effects, it's autopilot, right? Survivor perks are autopilot, while killer perks have to be earned, for the most part, right? So, you know, survivor perks are press button, get instant gratification, instant effects. Or get on your objective and immediately get massive value. Where the killers, they have to hook each survivor individually. They have to, like, fulfill a bunch of conditions. And there's a whole discussion around that I plan on doing, like, a full video on. I actually want to bring Mint Skull on for that one because Mint gave me the idea for the video, and it was going to be my first discussion video, but I ended up not pursuing that route because I want to get in touch with Mint and have him come on to actually talk with me about it. But yeah, so, and also like map and skill focused are antonyms, because so many maps in the game are directly sighted toward one or the other. And it makes it to where like, okay, so like if you didn't have good perks to patch up weaknesses and you're playing, I don't know, what's a good mid-tier killer? Where's my tier list? Say you're playing Wesker on Hawkins, right? You're playing Wesker on Hawkins, you don't have perks to help you deal with the like 76 bazillion pallets. And you also don't have the ability to super slow down gens. And you don't have the ability to easily get from one place to the other. You lose that game. Basically every time. If you don't have perks to patch up your weaknesses, you lose that game every time. You're not winning. Because you're not able to catch the survivors that well. Without something to help you deal with the problems, the maps become the defining factor. And at that point, it's all RNG. So would you rather have perks that help you patch weaknesses that you think you're going to encounter? Or would you rather the game be entirely dependent on whether or not you land on a specific map? That's the way I'll put that. Patient Zero, slugging is both more effective and more difficult than hooking. I agree with that. I agree with that. If only because I'm not very good at slugging. I agree that slugging is more effective in a lot of scenarios because a lot of survivor perks reward them for either being hooked or getting unhooked. And it also takes longer to pick someone up off the ground than it does to unhook them. So, yeah, I'll agree. I'll agree that slugging is more effective. It's also more difficult because if you're not good at securing the downs fast enough, or if you don't have the game sense to find people, then the slugs become pretty much useless for you. So, yeah, Yeah, I'll agree with that. Sir Muggle says, stealth jump scare Tombstone Myers was absolute peak DBD to play as and against, and I haven't been able to enjoy the game nowhere near as much since its removal, supposed party game, taking away fun party game mechanics. I think the first one is one that I can't agree or disagree with. I didn't like playing against jump scare Myers, but I also don't like jump scares in horror, so that's just my personal. I'm not gonna argue with that one with you on that one too much. Playing as jump scare Myers was kind of fun. I'll give you that one. In terms of like supposed party game taking away the fun party game mechanics, though, that's a 100% agree. Something that I forgot to mention with bots comment and this one is that the main problem right now is that perks are not designed very well. So it's not the problem. The problem isn't perks themselves. It's that perks aren't very well designed, and behavior has this very aversion. They have an aversion to different play styles, which is very frustrating. So yeah. White Rabbit says the game is not killer or survivor sided. It's unbalanced on both sides for different reasons. That is dependent on different factors. Maps can hurt killers. Certain killers can negate survivor builds. Plague versus healing, doctor versus stealth. And for every cheese strategy like Sabo squads or flashlight saves, to second chance perks, there's slugging, lightborn, and just hard tunneling. The only edge for it being survivor is that there's 4 of them and 1 killer, so it can feel very stout. There was a time where I agreed with this, but after a while, especially if you play both sides, after a while you start to recognize that right now, in its current state, the game is survivor-sided. And that's only because of what I was talking about earlier with autopilot perks, where survivors just kind of get free value for existing. And that does have a lot to do with things like map generation, palette density. Most of their perks are autopilot perks like Sprint Burst, Lithe, Conviction, Shoulder the Burden. You know, the new perks in the PTB, a lot of those are, it's literally just exist and get value. And that's frustrating when you go to play, you then go to play killer, and it turns out that you have to keep track of 4 bazillion things at the same time, and you have to put effort into getting value from your perks. So, in my opinion, right now the game is survivor-sided. Now, do I think that it's so survivor-sided that it's unplayable as killer? No. But I will say that there's a very good chance that if they continue the way they are, it's going to get to the point where it's going to be almost unplayable as killer without being stressed the fuck out every single goddamn match. So there was a time I agreed with this, but right now I would say that the game is more survivor-sided than killer-sided. And no, stats do not matter in that regard. Pre-Fire EU, just because the game might be considered casual by most people, that doesn't mean we should throw balance out of the window. Unbalanced mechanic, perk, killer, blah, 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 create unfair. that says crate unfair. Create unfair and unfun situations for both sides, which ruins the overall experience, whether the game is casual or competitive. Also, skill expression is one of the most important enjoyment factors for long-term players. Yes, I agree. 100% agree. I have always found the argument, oh, it's casual, therefore balance doesn't matter, to be incredibly frustrating, because you still want skill expression in casual games. You still want, balance, because Marvel Rivals pretty much showed that if everyone's OP, nobody's OP, to be a bad balancing direction. Because while a lot of people had fun with it at first, it got to a point where a lot of the Rivals community was just fucking pissed off all the time. And that had a lot to do with the fact that everything felt unfun to play against because everything just felt unfair. So yeah, I agree with Pre-Fire here, 100%. And I think I've been saying it for a long time as well. Equinox Alchemist. Killer name, by the way. I really like that name. Sound-based gameplay should be removed or edited to benefit those with hearing issues. I already agree. I don't even want to read the rest of this because I fucking agree. As somebody who is half deaf, I've been saying this forever. Quit adding sound-based fucking playstyles. There needs to be a visual aid that mimics what can be heard. I don't even need to read the rest of this. You know what I mean? All right. Subwoofer Vertex. The homie. The all-kill comeback update was a good concept. Sure, the Trickster rework was a huge nothing burger. He's still very uninteresting to play, and I do not care how hot Mina is. That's so fucking based, man. However, I do like revisiting old chapters, giving them new maps if they didn't have one, and giving the characters new voice lines and animations. I just hope behaviors take away from this is that we want better reworks for killers. You know, it's so fucking crazy to me. So I played the new Trickster, and I absolutely fucking hated it. I couldn't stand the new Trickster. I hate that motherfucker. But I wasn't playing during the all-kill comeback, so I can't say how the chapter was on release. But what I can tell you is that, like Subwoofer says, the idea is great. The idea to go back and give old chapters who never got their own maps, and maybe rework old killers to bring them up to snuff and things like that, all phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal idea. I need behavior to lock the fuck in on reworks, though. Because they killed it with the Freddy rework. The Freddy rework was phenomenal. Probably the single best rework of a killer they've ever done was the Freddy rework. And then we just got garbage, man. The Myers rework is trash. The Trickster rework is trash. The Skull Merchant proposed rework was trash. Like, behavior, you need to lock the fuck in, man. You need to lock the fuck in. All right. Cthulhu72 says, even though it would be dead without them, I think DBD would be a better game if it had less or even no licensed characters, mainly due to what I consider content bloat, as I'd argue the need to pump out characters to keep player counts up is what led to a lot of DBD's problems. I generally prefer there be 5 killers in total rather than the current amount. So, this is such an interesting, complex topic, right? Hey, Polar. This is such an interesting, complex topic. So, in my opinion, I have this like agree, disagree with this one. Because yes, there are way too many, licenses in the game. And I've said before that behavior seems more concerned with adding licenses than they are with fixing their fucking game. But on the other hand, our game would have been dead without licenses. If Myers had never come to the game, we would not have DBD. We would not be about to celebrate 10 years with Dead by Daylight if Myers had never come. Because at the time of Myers' release, the game was stale, it was stagnant, it was infuriating to play. I didn't play back then. I'm going based off of people I've talked to in the past. There was a mass killer exodus on the horizon if it hadn't happened already. New players weren't coming to the game. New players weren't coming to the game because old players didn't like the game. And they were telling their friends, Yo, should I play Dead by Daylight? No. Don't touch it. It's bad. It's awful. It's horrible. Nobody fucking likes it, right? Licenses save Dead by Daylight. But I agree that there's not only a content bloat, but a license bloat. I made a video on this, I think, like mid-2024, I believe, where I was talking about how they need to slow down on the goddamn licenses, because I'm sick of like I'm sick of there being like 2 original chapters a year and the rest is just licensed crap. But I disagree that it's so hard, right? We need the licenses, but there is content in the license bloat. And it's so hard to like conflict those two things together. It's hard for me to take a stance on either side of the aisle. And I feel like there is a healthy middle ground that we can have. I just don't know how to express it, you know? So I'll put this one as an agree and disagree. You know what I mean? Lol Hello says Dracula is top 4 in the game. Bring back Chucky manual scamper. Heavy disagree on both of these. For me personally, I've got Dracula as 7th place. And honestly, Kraus is about to fucking... I'm going to redo this tier list. Because this was made like a week or 2 after I came back. I'm going to redo this because I'm thinking about putting Kraus at like right behind Nurse. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. This tier list needs to be updated. But I don't think Dracula's top 4. Like, in order for Dracula to be top 4, you would have to say Dracula is better than Kraus and Billy. And I just don't think he is. You could probably put Dracula above Twins. But saying that Dracula is better than Kraus and Hillbilly? I don't know about that one, Chief. As far as Chucky with manual scamper? Did you not play Survivor back then? That shit was dumb. That shit was so dumb. Like, we've been talking this whole video about autopilot perks for Survivor. Manual scamper on Chucky was autopilot downs. You just press spacebar and you win every chase at a pallet. Like... yeah. Pallets basically didn't exist. That's why Chucky was like nearly an S tier killer for so long. Manual scamper was broken, man. I like the way it is now. I like the fact that Slice and Dice does a scamper. That's pretty good. Because it still gives you outplay potential, but it's not a free down at every pallet. Lord Blue has been a long time viewer of the channel, man. Shout out to Lord Blue. Shout out to Lord Blue for being a long time viewer of the channel. Okay. Hot take. 4.4 needs to be completely removed from Dead by Daylight. I immediately disagree with this. It's entirely useless. Holy fuck, this is a long ass comment. I get the gist though. I get the gist. No. No. There are some killers that the 4.4 definitely needs to be reverted. For sure. Hag does not need to be 4.4. Slinger does not need to be 4.4. Huntress does not need to be 4.4. Trickster does not need to be 4.4. But Spirit, Blight, Billy, Ghoul, those all need to stay 4.4. You can't have those killers be 4.6. That would be atrocious. That would be absolutely atrocious. Dracula could probably be 4.4 and then 4.6 in his wolf form. I think that wouldn't be, yeah, 4.4 on Dracula is probably a good idea. Nurse can stay at fucking 4.0 where she's at. Yeah. Yeah, 4.4 does not need to be deleted from the game. But there are definitely, there are definitely killers in this game that need to be 4.4. They have to be. Chucky as 4.4, I think is fine because of his inherent stealth. Is Henry 4.4? I actually don't know what Henry's speed is. He is? I'm sure. I think it's fine. I played Henry for a while. I think it's fine. I think 4.4 on him is fine. 4.6 on Huntress is a hot take on its own. Not in the current state of the game. Maybe like 2 years ago, sure. But I genuinely think that Huntress at 4.4 right now is one of the biggest crippling things for her. We've already read Dim Dims. Poker Faces LOL says Bubba is horrible to play against. He's literally just back revving on arguably the worst Billy playstyle, but pumped up to 11. There's no counterplay to it. Skill issue. I hate to say it, genuine skill issue. The thing about Bubba is that he's honestly just basically an M1 killer. I kind of realized this when I played him a while back, but Bubba is heavily countered by windows and pallets just like any M1 killer. I actually, if you're not able to properly loop a Bubba, that's unironically a skill issue, and I hate saying that sometimes, because like I don't like to just tell people, yo man, you just suck. But if you hug loops tight enough, it becomes very difficult for the Bubba to hurt you. And the problem is that most survivors don't understand that their hitbox is so small that hugging loops tight is often what causes them to be nearly uncatchable sometimes. So. We already read, oh wait, sorry, I almost passed over Big Unk 69. My bad, brother. We need more proper stealth killers. Sure. I'm down. We already read bots. Leviathan the Goat says Knight should have the ability to switch places when he places his guard, with him being at the end of the path and guard being basically flipping them. I don't think Knight needs that, honestly. I think Knight needs bug fixes more than anything. Being able to switch places with the guard sounds cool, but it's unnecessary. Knight is already so good at harassing generators. Knight is probably like the best, if not the second best killer in the game at harassing generators. You know what I mean? And so I think that genuinely you don't need it. Knight doesn't need that. It'd be a neat little power, I guess, and I'm sure someone like Pixie could come up with like some really funny haha plays using it, but it's unnecessary. It's not needed. Knight needs a bug fix overhaul more than anything. The Vice King says you should be able to choose where your hex totems spawn. It really sucks when you load into the game. Your hex totem is genuinely in the middle of the map, not covered by anything. Granted, this would be really OP. It would not be that OP. So I had a conversation about this with Hexed GG actually at one point. The Huntress guy who did the Twitch shirt parody song. Him and I had a conversation about it one day, and he brought up a good point. Being able to choose where to put your hexes would make you weaker, because survivors would be able to see where you're coming from. If you want to fix hexes, you need to fix totem spawns. Totems need to stop spawning out in the fucking wide open. They need to spawn in corners, underneath grass, and in far corners of the map. They need to stop. No totems should be spawning right next to generators. Like, we need to stop. We need to fix totem spawns. That's the problem. Constrictor, I think behavior should have stuck with the PTB tear radius for Xenomorph. What? Like the tear radius theme? Wasn't it like, didn't it sound like windshield wipers or something? I'd have to talk to Bran. I'd have to ask Bran about that. Jesse Bradley says, killers need an abandon option when the in-game collapse starts. 100% agree. Don't even need to read further. I 110% agree. Finally, Shady3671 says, base kit Kindred and Bond would fix 80% of solo queue issues on the spot, but will never get it for the sake of immersion that has been gone for years. You don't want those base kits. Maybe a version of these base kit. A version of them base kit would be fine. In my opinion, you don't want the killer aura version of Kindred to be base kit. Base kit Bond would be okay. It'd be fine. Probably at a reduced radius, but yeah, it'd be fine. Stuff like Darth Vader should never be added until the popular horror well is truly running dry in 15 to 20 years. That is stupid. And I'm not even saying that because you follow it up by saying Dungeons and Dragons shouldn't have been a thing. I'm not mad about that. I'm telling you it's stupid because we are not guaranteed horror licenses. Right? We are not guaranteed horror licenses. And so saying, oh, we shouldn't add any of these until the well runs dry. If we can't get Pennywise, Candyman, Megan, you know, whatever, just name a few. But we can get Darth Vader, we should get Darth Vader. Like, saying we should wait till the well runs dry is working under the assumption that behavior can just get any character they want. That they're not in constant battles with license holders and trying to get license holders to recognize the fucking infinite money glitch that is adding licenses to DBD. You know what I mean? So I think your opinion here is short-sighted based on a misunderstanding of what it takes to get a license into this game. Because at the end of the day, none of us knows what goes into it, but I can tell you from experience working in the field of like collaborations and licensing agreements and stuff, that it's a long process, right? Like, let's say today, Stephen King calls up Matthew Cote and is like, yo, bro, I'm ready to give you Pennywise. The next 2 years is going to be signing contracts, revising the contracts, looking at money splits, looking at creative control. They're going to be building concepts, submitting it to King, letting King figure out what he wants done with his character, all this other shit. It's not as easy as, yo, Cote, let's put my funny clown in your game. And then Cote goes, bet, and then we get it 6 months later. It's not that simple. And so that's just when they agree. That's not even Cote calling up King and being like, yo, I want your funny clown in my game. And we've even got Tim Curry to voice him or whatever, right? And then having to argue with King about why this would be a great idea. So I think, like I said, I think the second part of your take is short-sighted by just kind of a misunderstanding of what it takes to get licenses into these games. Star said that he left a comment under this post, but I don't see it. Let's hop over to this and see. Star, I don't see it. You want to give me a hot take in the Twitch chat? I'll do it just for you. Deli posted one. You know, you posted one. Wait, I do kind of remember that. I do remember Deli posting one. Yeah, YouTube is silencing the hot takes. Wait. YouTube's actually silencing people's hot takes. Because I remember Deli posting a hot take. She was the first one to do it. Wait, YouTube actually deleted like 3 hot takes, man. Yeah, it's not even in my notifications anymore. Wait, what the fuck? That's wild. Star Dax, since you're here, why don't you guys give us yours real quick? Is yours not there either? I didn't see it, Psycho. Wait, what the fuck? Two V8's gameplay loop is more fun than 1v4's. I agree and disagree. I agree and disagree with that one. Like, on the one hand, yes. But on the other hand, whenever 2v8 comes around, I'd just rather play 1v4. Barely remember yours? Get wrecked, buddy. Okay. Psycho says, oh, mine was that they should make maps darker and there should be more of a horror ambiance. That's actually a good one, man. Yes and no. Because, like, you don't want visually impaired players to not be able to enjoy the game. But we also need the horror back in the horror game. That's such a hard one. Because we got to think about accessibility as well, you know? That one's kind of difficult to go with, I'll admit. Alright, we're at 45-minute mark. We're going to call it here. Anybody who left a comment here but didn't get it read out, I apologize. Apparently, YouTube just fucking nuked some of my people. So that's fun. But other than that, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Thank you to all my channel members listed on screen now. If you want to find out, become a channel member today. Get awesome perks like seeing videos, early merch discount codes, and more, than please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.